Hello everyone and welcome back to Totally Broken Opinions. On today's episode, it is the long-awaited Deadpool 3, Wolverine, all of those fun things, review, spoiler, discussion, all etc, etc, etc.
Yes.
We're going to be spoiling the movie. It's been out for a couple weeks now, so you've got no excuse.
I mean,
Everyone's
I
already
avoided
spoiled it everywhere.
all spoilers.
Marvel immediately on San Diego Comic-Con on the Saturday or the Friday after the movie came out just brought on everyone who was in the movie
Oh, really?
to the stage. Yeah, they brought in all of the cameos, the Blade, the Elektra, Channing Tatum. They just brought them on. Chris Evans, I think, also turned up. So they just brought everyone on stage. Luckily, I'd seen the movie at that point, but I'm surprised other people hadn't seen it. Also, Lady Deadpool was in a trailer, so...
I avoided all those. I avoided literally everything.
I didn't. I had most of, if not all of this movie. Well, not the plot-wise, but I had cameos spoiled for me. But I was like, yeah, whatever. I expected cameos. I also expected Blake Lively to play Lady Deadpool, so...
Was it?
Yeah.
That's so funny. I
It's
didn't
in the
know that.
Well, yeah, it's his wife. His kids play the kid one and the baby one.
That's amazing.
Matthew McConaughey is the cowboy. The guy from the Wrexham thing, Rob McElhenney's in the movie.
He's played the Welsh one.
Yeah, I think there's also the guy from... No, he's one of the TVA agents, I think. But then there's the Welsh one is one of the team players from Wrexham.
It's so funny. That's amazing. I never knew that.
Then also Ryan Reynolds' Nice Pool is credited as a different Ryan Reynolds' twin brother.
But he doesn't have a twin brother,
Broden,
does he?
Exactly. But he's got a different name, so it's like Ryan's twin brother. What's his name? Reynolds, so that they can go, oh yeah, it's Ryan Reynolds playing against his twin brother.
All right.
What else? What other spoilers? What can we dump in the first 10 minutes that's just basically ruins the whole movie if you haven't seen it?
Don't know.
Deadpool dies. It's not a spoiler. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He can die and come back. But yeah, let's get into it. What do you think, Dan?
I love this film so much. I really love this film. And I know people have criticised it for the plot. I never went in for the plot.
Death of cinema.
I didn't give a shit about the plot. I went in for a comedy film and I was very happy.
Nice.
I don't think I've ever laughed as much in a film.
I enjoyed this movie. I don't think it's my favourite Deadpool movie, though.
See, I'm the opposite. I think this is my favourite Deadpool film. Because I
still think...
I never really enjoyed the other ones that much.
I like Deadpool 2 more than this, I think. I will see it again tomorrow, because I'm going with a group of people, so I want to see what the reaction for a bunch of people who kind of don't follow all of the Marvel stuff. I want to see the wide range of different people, because that would be what it is. It's going to be some people who have seen all of the Marvel stuff, some people who have seen some of the Marvel stuff, and some people who have seen very little of the Marvel stuff. So I want to see that range of people, because I can understand this movie is very densely packed with references to other things, because you've got all of the past X-Men movie franchises and the Fox franchises, and Marvel references. And just pop culture in general.
This film kind of feels like a Endgame for Fox.
Yeah, I can see that. I can understand that.
I know people are sick to death of fan service and cameos, but for this film, I think they mainly worked because it was the sense of the closing of the Fox universe. It was giving the final goodbyes to Blade, the Gambit character. I love the Gambit cameo so much. I thought it was fucking hilarious.
Well, that's not even a character that was even ever in a movie. Well, it was in a movie, but it wasn't
meant to
ever.
Be. It was cancelled, wasn't it?
It was meant, yeah. But that's my point.
I thought it was so funny.
Yeah,
because it's only funny if you know about it.
Yeah, if you know about it, but they also, that's the point. I feel like if you don't know about why Channing Tatum's there, it's just a fun Channing Tatum cameo. But then if you dig deeper into it, it's the whole background of he was meant to be in an X-Men Gambit movie. He was cast. The movie just kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed. And then eventually Marvel bought Fox, or Disney bought Fox. And then they cancelled all of that to restart so that they could integrate a new bunch of X-Men into the MCU. And then that was it. And so in the movie, they basically reference, I feel like I wasn't even in anything, or I feel like I've only been here since now, basically.
Yeah, and it was like I never even got a chance to save my world, and he said, I never got a chance to be in my world.
Yeah.
So
Like I think that's good. Elektra, I'd never watched any of the Daredevil movie or the Elektra movie, but I do like the joke where it's because Jennifer Garner, who plays Elektra in the movie, was married to Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then they got divorced, and then it's like, oh, I'm so sorry, Daredevil died in this, and she's like, yeah, it's fine, because it's like Ben Affleck played Daredevil, and she's like, yeah, I don't care. I divorced him in real life. So I was like, that's good. Blade I never watched, so I have no nostalgia for that, which is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I've not seen it either, but I know enough of it to not.
Oh yeah, I know enough of it. I know that also Ryan Reynolds is in Blade 3, so it's a reunion of those characters. And also I find the funny jab at there's only one Blade and there only will be one Blade, and then Deadpool looks at the camera and goes, because they're trying to make a Blade movie. But I imagine they might put Wesley Snipes in that Blade movie now.
Wait, why?
Because they can.
Not
replacing Mahershala, not replacing him, but maybe have it as he gives the new Blade, because they could do that if they really wanted to. Give the new Blade a seal of approval. I don't know. That movie is in development hell. But it is apparently confirmed to be R-rated. So, but anyway, let's talk about plot, Dan. So,
I mean, there's not much plot here. I will be honest.
No, it's very simple. That's the problem. That's the thing I find is very interesting, because you always do for a story. It's a balancing act between plot, the characters, like the complexity of the plot. I mean, the character like complexity, and there's another one. I think it's just time-wise, how much time you can put into it for it to be a cohesive story. So you either have to sacrifice one, you dilute the others. So it's a balancing act. So you either have a very simplistic plot to just get the character development out, so you have really complex, interesting characters. Because like Endgame is a very simple plot. It's go back in time to stop bad guy.
Yeah.
And like most good movies tend to be a very simplistic plot, but the characters are very well developed, or they have a very complicated plot, but very simple, but likable characters that then run through that plot and interact with it very simply. And then you have the time frame of everything to kind of stretch it or shorten it, dependent on how much of the plot there is. So it's a balancing act. And I think this movie does a good job. 2 hours, 8 minutes, basically. 2 hours,
it's not too long. It's just quite a short film, really.
I feel like they could have made it longer, but I feel like they didn't have enough.
They could have, but
because I think the main problem I had with it was more that I think they could have spent more time with the previous Deadpool character roster.
I can see that.
Because they're basically, the beginning, I think Dopinder has like one line of dialogue, and then it's just, he comes back at the end, and I don't think he says a word.
Yeah, I can see that, but yeah.
It's not a problem. I do like having just Hugh Jackman be in the movie, and it's just him and Deadpool on a road trip. But I think it would have been nice to have like a bit more fleshed out. I know we had the 6 years. And also I feel it was a bit weird to have Deadpool and Vanessa be broken up, and then
that was like a bit odd. I didn't quite understand why they went down that route.
Because life got stagnant, but I don't know.
No, but I don't understand why that was a
I don't know.
reason
I feel like
to put that plot in there, but
and then especially as Deadpool's motivation is to get Deadpool's motivation to save his world, but I feel like he would have saved that world even if he wasn't or was with Vanessa.
Yeah.
So I don't think you need to have them been broken up for him to win her back because of that. I feel like it would have been better if they were just together. But I guess you have to have the plot of them broken up so he can win her back. I don't know. That was my only it's very simplistic. And it felt kind of like felt like the second one where they killed her to basically have him be motivated to save the kid, basically. So
yeah,
I feel like she's just being used as a device to motivate Deadpool at this point.
This film, if you look into it and deep it, it's very easy to find plot holes. So
yeah, don't get me wrong. Nah. I do maintain
it's not
that
what it's for, this film. It's not about a good plot. It's not meant to be a good film, necessarily. It's meant to just be Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds just having the time
finally on screen again.
On screen together, beating the shit out of each other, making quips every moment they can. I can understand
why people were like, Logan was such a good movie, and it was such a good character plot piece, and I feel like they've just stripped. It's not the same one.
No,
Deadpool defiles that one.
That was so funny. I didn't see it happening. That was hilarious. I was creasing in my seat, genuinely.
Yeah. But because that's the thing. I think if you're in the first 10 minutes of this movie and you're someone who loved Logan and has always kind of been iffy on the Deadpool movies, I think that will be the defining moment of I'm not into this movie.
Yeah.
Because but what can they do? They want to get Deadpool and Wolverine together, and it's just they're not disrespecting Logan. Logan still exists. That movie is still perfect.
The best way they could have done anything.
Yeah, they basically everyone was like, "Oh, they can't. They're going to defile Logan. They're going to ruin Logan."
I mean,
Deadpool being Deadpool. Deadpool being Deadpool. They make that a plot point. How are we going to honor Logan? Fuck him. We're going to defile his corpse. We're going to use him as a weapon. Like, I found that funny. If you don't find that funny, then it's perfectly fine. I understand, but like, I do think that is
it's just a dark humor.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Logan still exists. It's still a good movie, and I feel like they kind of do a good enough job bringing in a new Wolverine and a bunch of other Wolverines that we get a nice little cameo line of previous comic book covers, comic book accurate ones. We get the Hulk one where like the original one where Wolverine fights the Hulk in the first comic book introduction of him. We get short Logan. We get comic book accurate height Logan, because Hugh Jackman is 6 foot something and Wolverine is like 4 foot something in the comics, something stupid. So we finally
I shouldn't have laughed at that much. I did, but the CGI looks so weird, and I just laughed.
Well, I think they just went and crushed him a bit. They didn't actually really do. But I found it's hard to do a short. Like,
it is hard.
Person.
It's a hard. It kind of goes uncanny valley a little bit.
Yeah. Also, for 2 seconds in the film, it's fine.
Yeah.
We get Henry Cavill in the MCU finally as the faded Calvarine or whatever it was.
Yeah, Calvary. I do wonder if they put Henry Cavill actually as the new Wolverine.
I doubt it. I think they want him
keep Hugh Jackman until he's 90.
That is, I think, the plan. I don't think they're planning on recasting. They said it's an inevitability, but I think as long as Hugh Jackman is alive and wants to do it,
I guess this time he probably had so much more fun than the other X-Men films.
Yeah, because that was the thing. Because in the interviews, Hugh Jackman has basically come out and said he retired, and then like 3 days later, like he said he was retiring after Logan, and then like 3 days later, the first Deadpool movie came out, and he was like, "Shit, I want to be in Deadpool."
Yeah,
because that just looks like fun, and so it took basically like Hugh Jackman was the one who rang Ryan Reynolds up and Kevin Feige and wanted to do it. So like, let him. Don't tie him to a role.
He's good. He's a good Wolverine.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. He's having the time of his life in this movie, even if he's being serious in it. It's a nice. I think their chemistry is really good. They're just having fun because they're friends in real life. So you're just
Yeah, the only thing I want to touch on the Wolverine character, because there is one thing that does gripe me a little bit, which is his backstory.
Is that he was sad and walked away, and
then
the X-Men died.
It's not. I don't think it's great.
No,
for
it's
him
not.
To be the worst Wolverine. It's just he just wasn't there.
And then he went and killed a bunch of people.
I didn't realize, but there's actually a comic book line about this, a comic book story, and someone explained it on the internet. I thought actually that would have been really cool. And it's in the comics, Mysterio plays a trick with Wolverine and makes him think that all the enemies are all the
X-Men
are the enemies, and then he kills all the X-Men.
Yeah, that one. I've seen that plot line before. I think that could have worked.
Also, it would have been good because Jake Gyllenhaal's also friends with Hugh Jackman. And Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, I reckon that could have worked. But I think they just maybe Jake Gyllenhaal was busy, or they didn't think about it because they were just like
it may have been. But like I said, it's a small thing. It doesn't take it.
I think the motivation is just like he's sad. Maybe he's only the worst one because he gave up. Maybe the others didn't give up and continued. Like Logan. Logan didn't he gave up, but he came back. And that's the thing X-23 basically comes up and goes, he always failed, but he always came back. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, I didn't realize also spoiled her coming back ages ago.
Yeah, because she wanted to go to the premiere, so they put her in a trailer.
Yeah. So
which I don't think you need to do, because you could have just said that she was there to support Hugh Jackman. You don't need her to be... Like, she was in Logan, you could go, she's just there to hang out with... People would notice, but and maybe just discuss it, but you don't need to have her cameo revealed that she's in it.
Also, I don't know if
she
they,
could do an Andrew Garfield.
these are technically cameos, because cameos implies more of someone who
Just
doesn't
there
have...
and you blink and you miss.
Yeah, cameos more like that. These are more like actual characters.
Yeah,
Some people are cameos, but these are more like actual...
Well, Blake Lively is definitely a cameo because she just turns up.
Blake's
and then...
Blake's a cameo, but I think saying like Blade and
Blade.
Gambit, they're not really cameos in a sense.
Johnny Storm.
They're
Johnny
more
Storm
actual.
plays a massive part in this.
Yeah, and I think I want to go back to the point I said earlier about it making sense, because the whole thing is about the timeline collapsing, and it makes sense because the Fox universe is now over, that all their timelines have collapsed, so that's how they've all end up in the void.
Yeah.
So it makes sense them all being there.
Yeah, I think you can argue for and against all of this. Like, oh, why is this person here, and why is this... Like, wouldn't they be... If they're dead, does that mean they go to the void, or do they not go to heaven in their timeline, or does their heaven exist in what they're... Like, you can do all of that bollocks.
I guess the point I'm making is that it's better than other Marvel films in terms of multiverse. They've actually given more purpose to the...
Void.
Or the returning actors. They've given a reason for them to return, as opposed to, like, Multiverse of Madness putting John Krasinski as fucking...
That was because they wanted to do the fan casting, so people shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You had him. He dies. It's good. Whatever.
Yeah.
He became spaghetti. It's fine. Spoilers for Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, that fucking came out years ago. It's fine.
Yeah. Also, it made a lot of money. Speaking of making a lot of money, this movie made a lot of money.
Well, what was the budget for this film? I imagine it must have been
200 million.
Was it 200 million? I could have sworn it'd be way more than that.
Well, you got to add marketing, which I imagine is probably a lot higher, because normally the rule is you take your budget, you double it, and that's how much the movie cost. So a $200 million movie gets $200 million in budget. So, and this movie has been budgeted for promotion like mad.
Was 100 million for marketing and 200 million for the film, so it needed to make...
I guess Ryan Reynolds is gritty down on the approach to marketing is a lot. Also, Ryan Reynolds owns a marketing company, so...
Yeah, doesn't he also, because it was Maximum Effort Productions or something, like they're also...
Yeah.
His company's involved in it.
Yeah, most actors have their own like production studio to work on things, because it just means that they can have creative control. So
okay, so it's nearly made its money back already in the first week.
Yeah, it's also
makes sense.
The highest grossing R-rated movie of all time.
Not surprised.
It had the highest box office opening of all time for an R-rated movie, both worldwide and domestic. It's had the biggest global opening since Avatar: The Way of Water, biggest domestic opening ever for Ryan Reynolds, biggest domestic opening ever for Hugh Jackman, biggest domestic opening ever for the filmmaker Sean Levy, highest July opening weekend of all time at the domestic box office, highest grossing X-Men movie ever at the domestic box office. Marvel Cinematic Universe is the highest grossing franchise of all time with 30 billion over 34 titles. The 34th consecutive Marvel MCU release to debut at number 1 at the domestic box office. Highest domestic opening weekend of 2024 and highest since Spider-Man No Way Home in December 2021. Number 6 highest domestic opening weekend of all time. 6th highest opening day at the domestic box office. Number 4 highest superhero opening weekend of all time. Number 2 highest opening weekend for the 3rd installment of all time. Walt Disney is responsible for 16 of the top 20 opening domestic weekends of all time, with the MCU responsible for 11 of the top 20. Walt Disney owns 5 of the top 6 opening weekends of all time at the domestic box office. Highest opening weekend ever for US R-rated release. It was Joker. Highest opening weekend abroad since Avatar: Way of Water. Highest opening weekend of 2024 in Germany, UK, Australia, and Japan, non-local, as well as many smaller markets. Highest R-rated Monday at domestic box office, and highest R-rated Tuesday at domestic box office. And probably many, many more.
Yeah.
And it's pretty impressive for an R-rated movie to make this much money.
It's currently 4th this year.
Yeah, but it's only been out for 2 weeks.
But about 2 weeks.
I'm sure this is also the only Marvel MCU movie coming out this year. So
it is, and I think that's a good job, because I actually felt like when I started watching the film, I was like, oh yeah, like the MCU intro credits. I completely forgot about them because I've not seen anything related to Marvel for over a year.
You didn't watch Echo? Was that this year?
No. Fuck off. Echo shit. If I watched a bit of it and I was like, I'm done.
Fine. Yeah, it was this year.
I'm done with the shit fucking things. Anyway, let's talk about MCU. Do you think this film saves the MCU?
No.
Do you think it breathes extra life into the MCU?
No.
No?
No, because this is really very little to do with the MCU. This is more Fox. I feel like they had the TVA as the link, but I feel like it doesn't change anything for the MCU going forward.
Well, this might do, because apparently it looks like Ryan Reynolds dies in Thor's arms or something.
Maybe that is a spoiler for Doomsday or Secret Wars, which we had lovely announcements for a couple weeks ago. We spoke about it last week. But yeah, I wonder if that is a spoiler. And it would be very Deadpool to put a spoiler of a movie in his own movie.
Yeah.
But I don't think that was Chris Hemsworth. I feel like that was his brother. I'd have to go, when I go and watch it again, I feel like it was...
I thought it wasn't Hemsworth, but I don't know.
I don't think it was Chris Hemsworth. It didn't look like Chris Hemsworth is Thor. It looked more like his brother that does the cameos in it, not Liam Hemsworth, the other one.
Well, for me...
He plays Thor in the acting parts of like Ragnarok and whatever, that brother. So he's dressed up as Thor. So I was just like, they probably just brought him in to do it. I'll confirm it when I go and see it tomorrow.
For me, I was completely done with the MCU, I will be honest. No interest to watch anything else. But after watching Deadpool Wolverine, I've not enjoyed a film as much as I enjoyed this one since Endgame, personally. Only thing that could come close maybe is No Way Home, but I feel like I way enjoy.
In terms of fun, I'd say this is probably one of the funnest movies I don't know.
Okay, I'm not saying it's a good film, right? You're allowed to like films that aren't fucking Hollywood brilliance.
I think in terms of in terms of just a fun movie, I think the last fun movie I saw this year, for me personally, was Godzilla X Kong, just because I like watching a big lizard and a big monkey fight. Like, I had a lot of fun. There's one moment in that movie where Kong fucking wipes a child monkey around and beats up other monkeys with it, and I'm like, yes, that is pure fun for me.
The last film I enjoyed, not Marvel, was Bullet Train.
Dune.
Well, in terms of being fun.
Oh yeah, Bullet Train. Yeah, I agree. That
was brilliant. That's the only other time I think I've ever laughed hard in a film.
Yeah, trying to think what other movies I had that. Yeah, Bullet Train I really enjoyed. Also Ryan Reynolds, because he turns up in it.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds is in it as well.
Spoilers. That's a cameo.
That's a cameo.
Guy who just but I think, I don't know. Let's talk because the only real Marvel interaction Deadpool gets is at the very beginning, where he goes and talks to Happy Hogan, which I thought wasn't Happy Hogan at first. I thought it was him talking to Jon Favreau to get into the MCU.
I would have preferred that.
That's what I thought. I thought that would have been better. Is it's him talking to Jon Favreau, not Happy Hogan, trying to get in, like, in the real world life, like here, to get into the MCU by talking to Jon Favreau to try and get to Kevin Feige to go into the MCU, and then they reject him.
Yeah, that was definitely the weakest point of the film for me.
I think
that honestly, the whole thing, I probably could have been cut.
I liked it. I liked seeing Happy Hogan, but I was just like, also Robert Downey Jr. back in the MCU, because that's a photo of him. Oh
yeah.
They were planning it from the very beginning. But yeah, I don't know. I liked it, but I think it's going to confuse people, because I know they put Sacred Timeline. And also the problem I think people get pissed off is that they've decided that the MCU is Earth 616, and that's the mainline comic book timeline, whereas the MCU originally had a different naming thing, and I think people get pissed that they've decided that the mainline MCU comic line is now the MCU timeline as the Sacred Timeline. So I don't know. I don't care. It's not important.
I think it makes sense in the sense of they're not going to interact with each other. The comics is not, not a film. So if you're going to adapt the comics, the mainline story comics, to film, then you might as well use the same number. Right?
Yeah, I think it's just that people were like, well, you could have just given it a different number, because I think originally people suspected it did have, or they gave it a different number, but then I think after, I can't remember which movie, I think it was Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness which confirmed it to be Earth 616. But that's also just because I think it was debated, because they said it was basically, that's what that universe calls Earth, that universe calls it Earth 1616, but that doesn't mean it is Earth 616. But then Marvel has basically doubled down on it, because I know the person from Iman Vellani from Miss Marvel is a big comic book person, and was like, why are you doing this? Like that's the comic book timeline. So people are gonna get pissed at you. Don't do this.
I would also say this
but
is
whatever.
the way to do a fun film. Because Ms. or The Marvels was also trying to be more of a fun film, but it didn't really work. Not to the same level.
I think it's more that they were trying to incorporate TV shows that barely anyone watched, except for maybe WandaVision, but she was a minor character in that, and then bring them to the forefront, and they had a weak villain, because they could have just brought Jude Law back and had him be the main villain again, but his world has been destroyed and he's now trying to get revenge, but they brought in another person to do it, and it didn't feel, because you don't have any real interaction and there's no stakes. And it was just kind of stuck in a weird void.
Yeah. So what's the next?
Like, I didn't hate them.
Marvel thematic film.
Captain America 4.
Oh dear, that's going to be the death of the MCU. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. I don't know. It might be okay, but I just feel like it's going to be really boring.
I don't know why they brought Harrison Ford in to do Thaddeus Ross.
No.
Because the reason why they had to recast him is because the guy died in real life, William Hurt, and William Hurt was younger than Harrison Ford in real life. So Harrison Ford now is an old man who is now tied into the MCU for probably only one movie, as a character that could have just been the president, because who cares about the president, because in Secret Invasion he was going to kill all of the Skrulls. So I don't know how he suddenly becomes president, if you're thinking of the MCU timeline, because that guy was in power and was going to hunt down Skrulls. So I'm guessing they're not doing that now if they have Harrison Ford in power.
No, I'm guessing
it makes no sense. It's weird. What else is there? Let's talk about the villain. What do you think of the villain?
Yeah, so you got
a
Mr. Paradox and you got Cassandra Nova.
And Pyro from the X-Men.
I guess Pyro as well. So I think Pyro and I guess Toad. I don't know. I liked all those X-Men characters. But bringing it
generic,
back.
Not the actors some of the time, but some of the time the actors.
Yeah, I think, or just even having the characters back. It's like a trick. It's like in-game No Way Home fan service tribute to X-Men universe, and I'm all for that, really.
Yeah, I like Mr. Paradox. That voice is very good.
Yes, Mr. I think Mr. Paradox may be the little bit stronger villain in terms of.
Oh yeah, I think the Cassandra Nova is the main villain. But she kind of just feels like, I think it's hard for people if they don't know that Charles Xavier had a twin sister who he murdered in the womb and all of this stuff. And this is the version that didn't die from that, but then got dumped in the thing because she's not meant to be in the mainline timeline. But yeah, I mean, I liked her. She was a threatening character. And you can argue, oh, why didn't she just kill them whenever? Because she can basically rip a dude's skin off.
Well, I guess she didn't really want to.
No,
that's the answer. She doesn't.
She's insane. That's the point. She's more content of just living and torturing people than she is just killing them, unless they piss her off.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the best villain they could have chosen. Probably they'd probably
and the ending is a bit. Yeah, you could have done.
Sometimes you
can
have enemies that are just too powerful.
Yeah, like I imagine what they were trying to do. And the problem is, if you have like a Kang, for instance, who is meant to be super powerful, but then gets defeated by Ant-Man, like people go, oh, well, they're not that tough, are they? So
yeah. I mean, to be fair, she was only defeated through an actual cosmic reaction of destroying matter and antimatter. Yeah, it's still nonsense.
Nonsense. And Deadpool and Wolverine survive because of nonsense.
Yeah.
Because they're the main characters.
I actually thought what was going to happen was they were kind of going to die with quotation marks. And I thought they were going to do the single cell theory for the Wolverine.
Deadpool.
Because if it's a theory of if a single cell survives, then he'll all regenerate.
Yeah.
So I thought they were going to do that.
The question I always have with that is, because his skeleton gets evaporated, would he just come back with only bones, or because they sometimes just bring him back with metal adamantium?
Yeah.
Also, that's a thing for the MCU is the big Tiamat or whatever it is, the big celestial that's trapped in the earth is apparently made of adamantium.
Oh.
And that's why everyone's trying to get it, or vibranium. I think it's for adamantium though, because it's a new element that's coming to the MCU.
Yeah, vibranium's already been done.
Yeah,
Vibranium's
I think
Wakanda.
Yeah. Well, and also the water.
And water, yes.
Yeah, but I think adamantium is the thing that's why that big rock is now prevalent in the MCU. So that's interesting. Maybe they'll make a new Wolverine, and then we'll finally get a recast. I would actually be very happy if they put Henry Cavill as Wolverine because he looked good.
Henry Cavill's a good actor. He just got done over
yeah.
in Superman.
Yeah, I feel so bad for him on that. It's just like he got shafted in being in Zack Snyder's version of Superman, and then Warner Brothers' consistent changing of what they wanted, so he never got really to do anything. And then you watch him in other movies, he's just really fucking good. Like in Mission Impossible Fallout and in Untimed and Gentlemanly Warfare and all of these other things, he's just a very good actor. Man from U.N.C.L.E. He's just a very good. I enjoy him and stuff. What do you think of the action?
I think for the most part it was very good. I really enjoyed the Deadpool and Wolverine
fights.
Yeah, those were scripted
The one
really
in the
well.
void and the one in the car.
Yeah, I also really liked the big Deadpool one. The only one I didn't really like was the one in the
final one.
The final one in the Apocalypse.
Yeah,
yeah,
because it's a bit too shaky.
Bit too shaky, yeah. But I was reading up about that as well, and apparently it might have been to do with like scheduling conflicts at the time.
Yeah, that's the problem with like trying to keep it secret of what you're doing, but I did like seeing Gambit's abilities.
Gambit's so cool. I wanted a Gambit film.
Well, I feel like it would have been like in an R-rated version because you get him exploding people's heads and body parts and just throwing cards and hitting people with sticks and things like that. But I feel like they kind of underutilized that bit, I think, because they have X-23 there and she's doing it and then she climbs up the thing and then she throws the thing and I was like, and then she gets whipped off and I was just like, and then they just get eaten by Goliath, I guess.
No, X-23 survives.
Does she?
Yeah, so she gets brought back into the current timeline for Deadpool and Wolverine. It's at the end. Because Deadpool talks to Hunter B-23 or what? Is it B-28? Which one is it? B-20. Anyway,
B-23.
Yeah, he talks to her, asks for a favor, and then she brings back X-23 from the void.
Oh, yeah, because she's at the meal, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing anyone else, though.
No, I think all the others probably died in the void. Maybe they could save her because she has adamantium and a regenerating factor, so she's staying alive in him.
Maybe. I don't know.
I like that cameo. Because she's not really mainline plot, but it's just nice to see that actress again. And her, I think Peter's going to come over to the MCU because she's going to want to fuck him. Because they had that. No, they had the thing. They were very flirty with each other.
Who?
Did you not feel that? B-23 and Peter.
Oh, sorry, that. Yes, I thought you meant something else.
Not X-23 and
I thought you meant X-23 Peter Parker.
No.
I was like, what
Peter
the fuck?
And B-23 or 24 or whatever it is. No, their little flirty interaction. She was like, "Oh yeah, big boy."
Yeah, that's quite funny.
Also, it's nice that all Deadpools have a Peter. And that's how the fight ends. Also, my only issue, I know everyone was jizzing their pants over Hugh Jackman finally wearing the yellow costume and the face mask. I didn't like that face mask.
Oh, it looks weird as fuck, but
it makes him look CG. And apparently the entire sequence where they're walking and Hugh Jackman is shirtless and he's got the ripped abs and everything and the huge muscles, that felt CG to me, but it's not. It's actually Hugh Jackman with that mask on, but it just looks CG because that mask looks so weird and fake.
Yeah.
I think it's the eyes. I think they shouldn't have given him Deadpool eyes.
Well, he does in the comics, that's the point.
No, but I don't think they should have, because it makes Deadpool and him look like the same. Like, I think because Deadpool has a mask, you can do the eyes and it doesn't distract. But having just a jaw and then a mask with CGI eyes, it looks fake. I think if you could see Hugh Jackman's eyes, it would have been better.
I think they just wanted to go comic book accurate as possible.
I know, but I think it looks weird, and I didn't care, because I'm not that fussed. I like the costume. It's nice to see them in color, but I think that mask is weird, and I think they should have redesigned it a bit. Because it makes, especially the bit where they come out of the bus and he's just standing there with his claws and he looks like a fucking Street Fighter character. It felt weird. It just felt a bit weird. I was like, okay, whatever. What else did we have? Oh, Gordon Reynolds. That's the Nice Pool cameo. Is played by Gordon Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds' twin brother.
That's so funny.
The most important cameo ever was Johnny Storm return.
Yeah.
Chris Evans is back in the MCU. What do you think?
Everyone. I thought it was so funny how he just flew up in the air and the pyro just took his powers and he just flopped on the fucking floor.
Well, yeah, it's Fire Dude versus Fire Dude.
Yeah.
And then he gets his skin ripped off because he said all those nasty things. And then Deadpool comes back at the end and goes, look, I have proof. Quote me on that. And he does. So that was the thing. I was like, so because Hugh Jackman's Wolverine basically is just like, oh, you got him killed. And it's just like, yeah, but he said quote me. So
yeah.
But so I guess Hugh Jackman's character was just like, I guess in terms of like, you shouldn't have said that, even though he said quote me, is why he was like, you got him killed.
Yeah, I guess so. But I don't know. I always liked those X-Men films.
I've watched everything except for X2, which is crazy.
Sorry, I meant to say I meant Fantastic Four one.
Oh yeah, the one with Miles Teller and Michael B. Jordan is fine. It's not great.
No, it's not that one. I mean, like the Chris Evans ones. Like,
yeah,
I like those.
Yeah, the 2004 and 2007 ones.
Yeah, or
2005.
Yeah.
No, I think
they came out really close together.
Yeah, I enjoyed those, but that's because I was a kid.
I've watched them recently, and they've aged.
They're fun.
They're fun.
Like, I maintain that I kind of like that version of Reed Richards, which is why I was a bit sad that they didn't bring him, Yoet Griffin, back for...
he was a good Reed
cameo.
Richards.
Yeah, because he's dumb and goofy, but he's smart.
Yeah.
But I know that people like the more serious psycho version of Reed Richards, who
I
can
guess
become
they
a
now
bad
have
guy.
to have the replacement for Iron Man, which could have been Shuri, but now Shuri's Black Panther, so it was a bit...
Well, if she ever comes back to the MCU.
Or she'll come back to the MCU, yeah. But yeah, I guess now the other option would be Reed Richards.
And you can't have Robert Downey Jr. come back because he's playing Reed Richards' his counterpart.
That's
which
cool,
is why
though.
I think you should...
I don't know. I feel like it's kind of cool, but also kind of isn't.
I think that if they do it... I think the problem is if they do it badly, it's going to piss people off. If they do it well, I think people will be okay. Robert Downey Jr. is an incredible actor.
Yeah,
like, I know people only...
He could save it. And
people only see him as Iron Man,
like
which I find is annoying, but he can do serious.
Yeah.
Like, I think, because he's in Oppenheimer, he's a very serious character in that, and he does it very, very well. I think he does have the acting prowess to do a Doctor Doom serious take that doesn't joke, is threatening. I think he has that acting prowess to do that. I hope Marvel doesn't try and make him a comic goofy character. I hope they make him serious.
I want them to make him like super serious, completely
super
threatening, terrifying, ruthless, and just make it sort of like, oh, you think I'm a hero? And I'm just like, oh, I'm not no hero because of Iron Man.
Just have him murder Spider-Man in the first 10 minutes and you'll be fine.
Just him. Because I guess
oh my god, Tony Stark, you're back! Rip his fucking head open.
I guess they're going to go more comic accurate in terms of powers to make him like a really big bad that you need Avengers.
You'd have to, because he has to be, because I imagine he's going to be, he gets introduced in Doomsday. I imagine what that's maybe going to be in terms of plot is Doom annihilating a bunch of characters. If they wanted to do it so that you impose a threat, have this be like a Thanos movie, because the first Infinity War is basically Thanos just coming in and doing wrecking shop and being the main character. All of the other characters are like trying to stop him, but he is the main character. Have that with Doom, but have Doom just ripping through the MCU timelines and bringing about Doom, as it were. And then Secret Wars is everyone teaming up to beat him. That's how I would do it. So it could be interesting.
Because what's Doctor Doom's powers again? I thought it was just electricity, but is it not?
No, that's just the movie version. So in the comics, he is basically... He gets disfigured, like... I don't think he gets disfigured from the space thing, but
his mask gets stuck in his face, doesn't it, or something?
So there's a bunch of different variations. I think the one that most people recognize is like the main one is the funniest one is he basically is super vain and super narcissistic. So he gets a tiny little cut on his face, and he says he's horrible and hideous, and then he gets a metal mask, and then. Because he's so vain, he puts it on before it's cooled down and it burns his face and sticks to his face. That's one of the versions. I think there are other versions in the comics where his mother is taken by the devil and he spends all his life learning magic to go and get his mother back from hell. So he's basically got Doctor Strange powers, but an evil version of that. He's magic. He's like sorcery magic and tech. mech, basically, are his powers. That's why people are like comparing him to Iron Man, because he's basically got the suits and stuff. But he's basically like a Doctor Strange and a Iron Man combined, and with the intelligence and the stuff and the like Killmonger attitude to life. So that's why people really are worried, because he's like a really good character in the comics and stuff. And I enjoy the Doom from the original 2 Fantastic Four movies. The third one, I liked the origin that they could have done. The design and the actual execution is atrocious. Where he's basically wearing a plastic bag as his outfit. Yeah,
I also wonder how they're going to do it with the Fantastic Four.
He's apparently in it.
Right.
Because that's what I was wondering. Four movie. That's the rumor that came out, is that he's either going to be a cameo, because it's meant to be focusing on Galactus and the Silver Surfer as the villains. But I feel like they're going to have him come in at the end as a cameo for the end credit scene, is apparently what's going to happen. So I'm like, I think you need to establish him earlier than that.
It's because
that's the problem.
Thanos was established so much just throughout dialogue.
Not really.
Well, he was. No, he was. Mainly through Guardians.
The thing is, people do forget that in terms of actual screen time, he's got maybe 20, like less than 10, 20 minutes of actual screen time before he becomes involved in Infinity War.
You're right, it's but because Because he has all those end credits, the presence, the building up to it, people leading to thoughts and expectations.
Since 2012, it was 6 years of like what is building up to. Whereas I think now it's going to be one end credit, maybe another end credit, and then Doomsday.
Yeah, but I guess Doctor Doom will also be the main villain for Secret Wars.
Yeah, I think in terms that because there's 2 versions of Secret Wars. I think there's one with the Beyonder who makes everyone fight, or I might be getting confused, but there is definitely one version of something where it's a character called the Beyonder who gets everyone to fight in a big Colosseum arena thing, and all the villains and everything. And then there's a Doom-led Secret Wars that came out a couple years ago that I think they'll probably end up adapting, but I think the ending of that is more of a Reed Richards Doctor Doom confrontation, because it's more of a character arc for those 2 characters. Like, because Reed Richards can be a villain in the comics. Like, he's an arrogant asshole who's like too smart for his own good, and like he leads the Illuminati and stuff like that and all of those things. And he there's ones where he becomes the villain and he's got the big helmet on, and all of these other things. So it'd be interesting if, I don't know, there's many possibilities. It adds a lot of things, but this isn't anything to do with Deadpool.
No, it's not, but it does relate.
Do you think Deadpool will teabag Doctor Doom?
Yeah, that'd be great. Do you think there'd be another Deadpool film?
I don't know. I feel like what they're going to probably do is have Deadpool take on the Stan Lee cameo role.
I think I would be up with that.
He just pops up at random points, because you don't even need Ryan Reynolds. You just need his voice. So you just have the guy in a suit come in, sit down in the background, wave to the camera, and then maybe have Ryan Reynolds do a witty line of dialogue, and then you just move on. That would be, I think, the fun thing to do.
Did you hear the original premises? Like Ryan Reynolds put a few different premises for the film, and
so there was one where they just basically redid 4-2.
Yeah,
which I think that is the reference in why he is crying.
Oh, it probably is actually, yeah.
Because it's Loki, it's Deadpool instead of Loki.
That's what it'll be. Yeah.
I think that's why that is there, for that original concept, where it was just them basically doing the first half of a shot-for-shot remake of For the Dark World, but with Deadpool in it. And I would have liked, it would have been interesting. And then there was the other one where it was they had time cops or dead cops or something, where they were like, and then it was meant to be like this 40-minute movie, and then it would just suddenly turn into Deadpool 2.
Yeah. So yeah, they wanted everyone to make everyone think they were watching the wrong film.
Yeah.
For the first 5-10 minutes. And then there's the other one, which is just a road trip.
Yeah.
With just Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, which would have been funny. And another one was Ryan Reynolds just inserting himself into just loads of films, and they're just going to just replay like loads of films and just have him. So maybe
that was
that's
just
what
Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Insinuating too, though, which is just make him the cameos going forward.
Yeah, I think that's a good use case for Deadpool, because you can just be like, breaks the fourth wall, comes in, goes ha 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 ha, or you just have him in the background doing something, and people are like, why is he there? Why is he not helping?
Yeah.
and then if I think the best way to do that is you have him in the cameos, and then you have him setting up stuff in the background for the end of the MCU thing. So for like Secret Wars, so he's just doing stuff in the background, setting up like a device, and then in the movie it just flashbacks to all of those cameos of just from his perspective, just setting up all of these things, and just go, and then just something happens. I don't know, that traps Doctor Doom or whatever.
It would be wondering, because I was thinking about how like everything relates together. Does this film go as a Marvel film or is it a Fox film?
Marvel okay. Fox now, because it has the because normally you would have the in association with Marvel, which was the Fox, the Spider-Man stuff.
No, but I wasn't sure, because like films like The Creator, for example, that comes under still Fox. So I wasn't sure.
Yeah, but that's because it's a Fox Marvel production, but it now has the MCU title card.
Yeah,
that's how you know it's in the MCU.
Yeah, I know that, but my point is who's technically distributed it now? Is it?
It's Marvel.
Okay,
I think because Fox. Yeah, it's Marvel Studios, not Fox.
Okay,
you can because they have the Fox line still, but yeah, it's a Marvel thing, so you don't have the Fox logo except in the void. And you have the Marvel title card with Deadpool inserted into it. I would have liked if they'd done what they've done previously, where they just had all of it be Deadpool, but with the characters' outfits on. I think that would have been funnier. But, because it's just like, I think one insert of Deadpool in like Deadpool 1, and then it just kind of keeps flipping through all the other characters, where I always have thought it would be more funny if they'd recreated all of the character cameos, but with Deadpool's mask. Or just had the hideous, maskless Ryan Reynolds with Captain America's outfits on and Black Widow hair and all of those things. Also that's probably why he's now able to get into the MCU, because Ryan Reynolds was married to Scarlett Johansson at one point, and then they divorced. So there was some animosity between those two. But she's dead now in the MCU, and they don't plan on bringing her back unless they want to resurrect her corpse for Secret Wars, for the cameo.
Yeah, they might do. Who knows? Secret Wars is going to be full of fucking cameos. I hope Secret Wars is the end. I know it's not, but I hope it is.
It's not going to be, Dan. There's so many things. You got Young Avengers that still needs to be announced. You've got that Armor Wars movie/TV show that's coming to Disney Plus at some point. You got Blade. You got everything. That's what I feel. I feel like they're doing the Avengers movies too early.
I feel like, it needs to be pushed back a little bit more. But I guess Robert Downey Jr. is getting older now, so if you have Robert Downey Jr., then you kind of need it to be soon.
He's not that old. He's only like 58.
Yeah.
Hang on. Let's find out. Because Hugh Jackman's doing it to his 90s, so...
Yeah.
59. I was so close. But yeah. Anyway, that's our thoughts on Deadpool. I enjoyed it, but I think I enjoyed Deadpool 2 more. But I might enjoy it a bit more, because I've only seen it once.
That's the thing, right? Because when I watch a film, it's always the first initial reaction and how rewatchable it is.
Yeah. I do maintain I do like this movie. I think what I was basically going for is, I think Deadpool 2 is like a 9.5. This is like a 9, and then Deadpool 1 is like an 8.9. So I don't, or like roughly that order. But like they're all good movies. Yeah. And I think it's one of those solid trilogies now. That has like no bad entry in it, really.
Yeah, that's true.
Because for me, like even Iron Man 1, like Iron Man has Iron Man 2, and Iron Man 3. For me personally, I like Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 3, and I do enjoy Iron Man 2, but I don't think it's perfect. So, but like I think Iron Man 1 is perfect, Iron Man 2 is okay, and then Iron Man 3 is good.
Although I would say, for me, Guardians trilogy has sort of grown on me a little bit, because I thought the sequel one was a bit weaker, and that's kind of grown on me. And same with the Avengers trilogy.
I enjoy 2 a lot, but I don't know. I enjoy 1 more, but I think it is diminishing returns for me on the Guardians. I do enjoy them, but I think they end solidly. But
yeah,
but you got like the Pirates movies and all of that, the first 3, and then they continue doing them. But yeah. Anyway, we'll see you next time. Probably for a solo one, because I'm gonna go watch Borderlands.
Oh yeah, that's out, isn't it?
Yeah. You want to watch that?
I might do. We'll see. It's expensive.
Yeah, and also it's a pain in the ass. I've signed back up for a Cineworld card. So.
I'll help you now.
Well, yeah, because they were doing an offer where you get the first month half price if you pick Deadpool or Wolverine or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And also, I go and watch a lot of movies, so it makes more sense because it's the closest cinema to me. But yeah. Anyway, we'll see you maybe for Borderlands, either solo or together. We'll see.
He wasn't.
Bye-bye.
Boy.